Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington was born a slave in Virginia on April 5, 1856, to a slave woman. His father was a white man who owned a nearby plantation. Washington never met his father. He did not even know his name and knew nothing about him. The T stands for Taliaferro. He had an Italian middle name. Booker's mother was a major influence on his schooling. She enrolled him in an elementary school. Booker T. Washington worked as a child. He walked miles and miles to attend school and back home to work. At the age of 16, he walked from Malden, West Virginia to Hampton, Virginia to go to college. Google Maps says it's a 386-mile trip. He arrived at Hampton Institute, dirty, hungry, and completely penniless. Miss Mackey, the head teacher, had little pity for him and told him to sweep the floor on his way out. He swept the floor 3 times, mopped it, and washed the walls. Miss Mackey was so impressed, she let him work his way through school as a janitor. In 1872, he received a scholarship from General Samuel C. Armstrong. Booker T. Washington graduated from Hampton in 1875 with high marks. In 1881, at the age of 25, Booker T. Washington established the Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. This school focused on teaching black students both trades and academics. In 1895, Booker T. Washington publicly put forth his philosophy on race relations in a speech at the Cotton States and International Exposition in Atlanta, Georgia, known as the Atlanta Compromise. In this speech, he encouraged black people to focus on education and entrepreneurship as a means to obtain equality with white people. He explained that it was not the time for political agitation of white society, and that equality would come with economic success. Booker T. Washington believed African Americans should avoid confrontation with their white oppressors over segregation, a tactic that angered many in the black community. Washington urged African Americans to accept their unequal positions in society while secretly funding litigation for civil rights cases. W.E.B. Du Bois renounced Washington's philosophy and insisted on full civil rights for all African Americans. People were critical of Washington's racial politics. Washington was willing to trade political and voting rights for economic rights. Du Bois and others said that's too hard a bargain. In 1896, Booker T. Washington was the first African American to receive an honorary degree from Harvard. In 1900, he founded the National Negro Business League. The purpose of this organization was to help with the advancement of African Americans in regards to education, industry, and agriculture. 1 year later, he chronicled his life up from slavery. Washington married 3 times. First, he was married to Fannie N. Smith. After Fannie died, he met and married Olivia A. Davidson. After Olivia died, he married Margaret James Murray. Booker had 3 children: Portia M. Washington with his first wife, 2 sons with his second wife, Booker T. Washington Jr. and Ernest Davidson Washington. There were no children from his third marriage. Washington had a great sense of humor. Washington's contemporary James Hardy Dillard reported that he could not only tell a good joke well, but tell what was only the shadow of a joke so well that his audience would be shaken with laughter. Booker T. Washington was known for saying, "I don't want white men as brother-in-laws, but I do want them as brothers." He was the first African American to be invited to the White House, not counting the slaves who helped build it, or the servants who cleaned slop jars before plumbing was installed in 1902. He was the first African American on a U.S. postage stamp, and even had his face on a limited circulation U.S. half dollar. Booker T. Washington wrote 14 books during his lifetime. His second autobiography, Up from Slavery, which was published in 1901, is considered by many experts his best. It became a bestseller. Booker T. Washington's blood pressure was twice the normal level. A tireless worker, at 59, he collapsed from exhaustion in New York City and was carted back to Tuskegee, Alabama, when he soon died November 14, 1915. He was buried on the campus of Tuskegee University.